Okay, Mike, come on up to the podium. Mike Smith, Program Director in, Program Director in Genome Sciences, is going to start off with a PAR first, and after we complete that discussion, he'll then move on to an RFA. And he has a handout, which I'm asking you to send around, please.
Whoa, wrong thing. All right, nothing like starting off with someone else's presentation, Chris. So today I'm going to be spanning, in a sense, the PAR portion of the open meeting and then the RFA, because I've got both a PAR here and an RFA, or several RFAs. You have in your, I just been handed out a little handout to help you keep track of the different parts and how much they cost. So these are a series of there are two concept clearances involved. First, I want to talk to you about the technology development program. It's just plain old foundational to the Institute. It's been foundational before there was an Institute. It's foundational today. And if anybody wants to argue about it, we can, but I think it's going to be foundational in the future because it just fuels the things that we can do to have new technologies, cheaper ways of doing things, more accurate ways of doing sequencing, for example, or CRISPR screens of the genome. It's impactful. You saw two publications today that are nice examples, and you have the grants that were funded under the Genomic Technology Development PAR and the Sequencing Technology RFA we'll be talking about later on. You can see that there are just a number of really interesting grants that have been leading to papers and work that's really having an impact. And that impact then enables the field. So, just look at the two publications that were highlighted today. The first one was on DNA microscopy, a totally new way that doesn't use a microscope to see where the nucleic acids are in a cell. Wow. Second one was a method for flossing, not a full strand at a time, but a base at a time through a nanopore. A very foundational method. We don't quite know how these will work out, but that's what technology development is. It's something new, right? Those kinds of technologies and others that we've funded are enabling. They really allow things like ENCODE to move forward with really, applying new assays. Not that everything ENCODE was already done by someone else, but applying new assays to an interesting question. Okay? And many other efforts by the Institute and elsewhere outside of the Institute. And then the technology development program serves communities. Everything from the community of users who are buying things from corporations that are mature to mature-ish technologies, to the very early innovators who are just getting the technology into the questions and digging and getting answers, to the innovators themselves, the developers who are innovating the new technologies and doing the early development. So we have all these communities, and they're really served by the program in different ways. We're largely focusing today on those innovators and developers in the early stages of the technologies. So we have strategic planning feedback. It comes from many town halls, the genotype to phenotype meeting, the technology development public meeting that is adjacent to the grantee meeting that we have every year, and other, those are pretty major sources. And things we heard was that there are a lot of new and existing opportunities in genomics overall, and then also in the nucleic acid sequencing. Synthetic nucleic acids was a big need that is unmet at this time. And then in enabling the community, helping that community get more with the resources that it has and that we'll be getting through approvals, hopefully, today. We know we need to do more work on clinical implementation for genomic medicine. And I didn't recognize the team of people early on the first slide. I meant to, but we've, Anastasia Wise, for example, from our genomic medicine division is in helping us try to figure out how to do that better in the future. We've already got those calls in the current technology development announcements, but we know we can do more. Then we also want to accelerate. There's every reason we should be able to get the money out the door to the investigators who want to do this work sooner. We've got a simple solution to that, which is to take the applications more often. And then we recognize that commercialization is a very real part of this endeavor. And we can facilitate that in a number of ways. So you're going to hear about 2 clearances today. The first one is going to be a PAR, just like the last 2 you heard about. It's a reissue, it's genomic technology development. And then there are 3 RFAs, in essence, being brought forward. And I'm going to be referring to things as an RFA set. And when I use that term, and hopefully I'll use it consistently, I'm talking about an announcement for an R01, an announcement for an R21, an exploratory grants, and then announcements for small business grants, phase 1 and phase 2 small business grants. Those, to some degree, touching on that commercialization topic of just a second ago, slide ago. So to go to the PAR, this novel genomic technology development was successfully launched in FY15. It's a very broad call for applications. You can see the funded awards in the back of that concept clearance. This year, we've got about $11 million of awards funded. That's total. Those are both ones that have renewed, and not renewal's not quite the right word, but new competing applications, and then existing new competing awards, and then existing awards that are being funded multiple years. And so far, we've made 26 awards in those 4 years, 3 of which were small business awards. We intend to enhance the current PAR by taking into account things we heard were important from strategic planning: spatial and functional genomics, multiomics, complex genome regions, genomic recorders, the idea that you record what's going on, and by having a nucleic acid in the cell that can record change, and then clinical applications. We also intend to clarify some of the review criteria and the FOA based on our interactions both with the review groups and with investigators during the course of accepting and having applications reviewed and then ultimately funded. So again, this is fairly brief, and it's time for discussion and questions. Go ahead, Steve.
Is this on both sections at this point?
So we're just staying with genomic technology development PAR.
I think
we're going to jump to the RFAs next.
I think one of the great things, I mean, you've got a good historical program here that is tried and true, and is really you just need to take a look at the title and the grants that you've listed in this to kind of see the breadth of this. And so I want to congratulate you on having a program that really captures such a broad yet important aspect of technology development across genomics.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree this is a great program, and I think it's nice to have this in addition to the more targeted programs, so you're capturing stuff that you're not able to think of. So
That's actually one of the things I'm really proud of, is we're really trying to leave the door open for the stuff we don't think of.
Apropos of the conversation we were just having, is there a part of these grants that are required to talk about dissemination?
Yeah, so the current PAR and has language we've used in the past, which there's 2 pieces to that. One, we require the grantees to come to an annual grantee meeting, so that helps disseminate within that community. And then we also ask for resource sharing plans in terms of data, methods, push people to make sure the protocols get published, for example. And when we get into the coordinating center thing a little bit later, I think you'll hear a little bit more about dissemination there too.
Got it.
Go ahead, Steve.
One more comment that I'd like to make is it would be great long-term, and I know you are aware, you do think about this, but in technologies, the risk-taking is high, generally, and the more that we can do to to think about how to give some young investigators, some that maybe aren't yet proven, the opportunity to try some ideas, I think would be very, very rewarding in the long run. So it's not, in technologies, it's generally not always the proven investigators that come up with the innovative ideas, but it's the young unproven ones. And whatever we can do to support people early in their careers and give them a shot at being successful on crazy out-of-the-box ideas would be great to focus on for the future.
That's a good reminder as we rewrite the PAR and clarify things where there are opportunities for improvement.
Other thoughts or questions? Go ahead, Hal.
So I know we're going to hear about the second part in just a moment, but give me a greater sense of how you avoid redundancy between the PAR and the RFA.
I could have said that. We avoid it very clearly. There's a statement in there that says anything that was in the PAR, there's this current statement that says anything that is under the scope of the sequencing technology RFA is not under the scope of this PAR. And that works really well. Right, and you just reference the RFA, the sequencing technology RFAs, and we're done basically. Occasionally people come in and they say, oh, I've got this great idea. It definitely fits here. And I go, well, have you read the other one? I'm like, I have to read that too? Yeah, you have to read that too. It's referenced.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the concept for the PAR? Second, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. And now Mike will slide over to the RFAs.